Regularly scan hard drive for errors. Now, you have to clean the case and the internal components. So you dust the dirt and then accumulated dust or dirt and dust block airflow inside the case. And you have to use a low airflow ESD vacuum cleaner. You have to make sure to keep internal components clean, like heatsink, fan assembly, RAM, adapter cards, motherboard, and stuff. So you see that sometimes you put on a particular desktop and then it starts to beep, 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 beep. And then you open the case and you see that there are a lot of dust in them. You have to clean it. As soon as you remove a particular memory, you clean it and then you blow inside a memory slot and then you put it back and you put it on. You realize that the beeps go away. So the cleaning is one part of preventive maintenance. And then the inspection of all internal components. You have to make sure that you have a schedule for regular inspection. The main components to inspect: the CPU heatsink, fan assembly, and then all that. Now you have to take into consideration environmental issues. Now we know that computers with the way they are made must not be subjected to certain or harsh environmental conditions. Now, due to their mobile nature, laptops are subject to various environmental conditions, and we will need to take care of that and make sure that those harsh conditions do not affect the operations of these devices. Now, what are the guidelines to help your computer have optimal operating performance? One, do not obstruct the vents or airflow to the internal components. Good. Number two, keep the room temperature between 45 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 32 degrees, 7 to 32 degrees Celsius, and keep the humidity level between 10 to 80%. That is why in the vicinity of computers, we provide a cooling or an air conditioner to make sure that the components are not heat up so that the computer can operate well. Now, let's look at troubleshooting process. What is troubleshooting? Troubleshooting simply means a systematic way of isolating problems or finding problems and then solving them. So, troubleshooting can simply also mean that you analyze and solve serious problems for a particular on a particular system. You trace and correct faults in a mechanical or an electronic system. That is what we mean by troubleshooting. Let's look at the process of troubleshooting with respect to preventive maintenance. Now, to be able to troubleshoot, you need an organized and logical approach to the problem. Now, troubleshooting eliminates variables and identifies causes of problems in a systematic order. And then troubleshooting skills get better with experience. So you realize that if you are a medical officer and you have worked over the years, if anybody comes and presents a particular system because of your experience, you quickly suspect a particular disease or a particular ailment. And when you check for it, it puts away a lot of variables and it gives you the ability to isolate the problem early and then solve it. So troubleshooting skills get better with experience. And then before troubleshooting, you have to protect your data. Now, the first point in troubleshooting is to identify the problem. What you need to do is to ask the customer questions. But in the course of asking the questions, you need to be respectful. Now, you need to use both open-ended and closed-ended questions. What is an open-ended question? An open-ended question is a question that demands an explanation from the user. And a closed-ended question is yes or no. The person chooses one and go, and you have to blend the two. Now, you have to listen to beep codes, and then the beep codes can show which of the areas that uh, has an issue. And then three, you have to use the BIOS and the UEFI to identify the power on self-test problems. And then you have to use event viewer, device manager, task manager, and diagnostic tools to help identify the problem. The next thing to do is establish a theory of probable cause. When we say a theory of probable cause, it means that the probability that it will be this as opposed to that, you need to be able to establish that. So you create a list of most common reasons for a particular error. And then you list the easiest or most obvious causes at the top and the more complex causes at the bottom. And then you begin to research uh, the system, the symptoms. The next thing you have to do is to test the theory to determine the cause. Now, after you have researched the symptoms, you test your theories one at a time. If none of the theories can be confirmed, create new ones. And then, after you have done that, you have to establish a plan of action to resolve the problem and implement the solution. So these are preventive maintenance procedures. And then you have to establish a plan of action to resolve the problem and implement the solution. So one, you write down a plan to solve the identified problem. And then that plan may require simple and complex procedures. The next thing is to verify system functionality and, if applicable, implement preventive measures. The troubleshooting procedures or process is not over until full system functionality is confirmed. If the system is working properly, implement preventive measures if needed. Now, the next thing you have to do is to document your findings, the actions and outcomes. Documentation is very important in preventive maintenance. When you have done all this, you have to explain the problem to the customer, both verbally and in writing. And then the customer should try to reduce or reproduce the problem after the solution has been implemented. And then document the entire process for future reference. Why do you think there is the need for documentation? So that you can always have a frequently asked question. The next customer that comes to you with a problem, you wouldn't need to go through all these procedures, but then you will be able to establish a particular theory with respect to the previous customer's needs and be able to zero in on where the solution has to be. That's the reason why we document. So we'll look at common problems and solutions. Computer problems can be attributed to hardware, software, networks, or some combination of the three, which is true. Common PC hardware problems include storage device problems, which could be the hard disk, motherboard and internal components problems, and then the power supply problems, and then the CPU and memory problems. So To identify the problem, one, the computer will not boot or it locks up. It is one area of the problem. The CPU fan is making an unusual noise. The computer reboots without warning, locks and displays errors. So these are some of the problems that will show you whether it is a storage problem or a motherboard problem or a power supply problem. Now, after upgrading from a single core CPU to a dual core CPU, the computer runs slowly and only shows a CPU graph in the taskbar. And then the computer does not recognize the RAM that is added. We want to know later. I'll send you the slides, and then you find out which one of them is a motherboard problem, which one of them is a storage problem, and all that. Because of time, we cannot do that. So the chapter discussed in this concept of preventive maintenance and troubleshooting process. So we have that regular preventive maintenance reduces hardware and software problems before beginning any repair data on a computer. The troubleshooting processes is a guideline to help you solve computer problems in an efficient manner, and then you document everything that you try. And even if it fails, the documentation that you create is a useful resource for you and other technicians. So we have ended chapter 4 today. Okay. So what we are going to do today, okay. Um, I'm going to. I've sent you the slides for chapter 1 and 2. I'm going to send you the slides for 3, 4, and 5. So you read through. The 5, I'm trying to plan one more meeting with you before the week ends. Otherwise, we'll stay and then we'll do chapter 5 and then we'll meet next week. Which one of them is better? Are we there? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll call it a day. Please, um, I know that times are hard. We are not in normal times. But know that the activations are done, and these people, they take their money. I beg you, try as much as possible. I think I was telling your class reps, if you have your 100 and you can pay, pay. If you don't have it, if you have 30 CDs, you just will record it. So that by the time we are ending, it will not be like, I feel now, we'll call you Jessica Kessie, we'll call Papa, or Papa say, nah, then. So when you pay gradually, you have 50 and you want to pay, just pay. So that we will have a smooth route. So that every time there are activations, I in say, Omoma Kwame activations, when we are able to get about half of the money for them, we can we can do a lot of activations for you. So please, uh, one thing you have to do is if you are ready to pay, when the numbers are there, when you want to confirm the number, you talk to Michael, talk to your class rep. When you pay, please send your name and your index number to Michael for him to keep that one for me. And he will also confirm payment with me. Then we know how to go about it. Thank you. I'm going to send you the I'm going to send you the slides in your group, and then up to chapter 5, you read the chapter 5. And then your chapter quizzes have also been activated from chapter 1 to 5. So in the course of the week, it will end. Today is Tuesday. It will end on Saturday. I think it's on Sunday. It will end on Sunday. So when you have the slides and you read, please make sure you do your 1 to 5, because by the close of this week, everybody should have finished his chapter quizzes from 1 to 5. Next week, we are moving from chapter 5 to whichever number, and that week we'll finish the chapter quizzes. Anybody who does not do it, I will not do a reactivation. Please tell them. Michael, Michael, are you there? Hello?
So we've placed it in the group.
So please, I think Michael is off.
You said you've done what in a group?
Please, Michael is off.
Okay,
So we will tell the rest of the group.
okay, all right, thank you. So all the best, and have the best whatever information I need to provide to you, I'll post it in the group, and please treat it very important and go about it and do them. Chapter 1 to 5 are active. Some of you, if you go into some of you, the old emails are what I use to constitute that class. So if you go into your Cisco to go and do the exam and you are not finding it because you have lost your password, quickly let's hear you and then reset your password. Or if your email is updated, let us know and put in that new email so that you can do the exam. Thank you.
Thank you.